Thank you, all of you who are here, for coming for the funeral services for Gail. My name is Michael Kumin. I'm from Berkowitz-Kumin-Bookatz, and my family helped establish the pre-arrangements for Gail a long time ago, 1992. So it was a long time. Gail was, from what I knew of her, a feisty woman. Age, she was 79 years old, and I've talked with her a couple of times over the decades, just about with her caregivers and her brothers. I knew two of her brothers. She was one of four children. Her brothers, David, Ronald, Edward, Harvey, and unfortunately they're all gone now, as are her parents, Joseph and Sylvia. Gail looked at relationships interestingly. She made friends with those who were around her frequently, and she was fiercely friendly with those people. I only know her more from stories, the few I've heard from those who have interacted with her. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to know her better. I'm sure she has some very interesting stories she could have told me, both about the rest of her family and those she came to call her family and her friends. What we're going to do here today is a little bit with the storytelling, just to honor Gail and celebrate her life. We're sad for what we've lost, but we're not sad for her in the sense that she's passed. We're taught that when we die, our soul goes back to God, to be with God, which was a far better place than here on earth, and in some cases we consider that to be our reward. But the story that we tell is about the interactions that we all had and what knowing Gail made different or better and better about our lives. Knowing Gail in some ways, now that she's gone, means that I'm going to tell you it's like there's now a hole in the floor in front of you where she used to stand every day. And when you get up and sit up on the edge of your bed and you put your feet down, your toes might be at the edge of this hole in your heart. And there's nothing that you can put into this hole to fill it. There's nothing you can throw across and drape this hole with and cover it up, because it's always going to be there. Every day, however, when you wake up and put your feet down and decide how you want to get around the edge of this hole, it becomes more and more second nature to you. You know the edges of this hole. You know where it is. You can stop and look into this opening at any time and think about Gail and remember her and think about the things that she told you and the things you told her and that you shared together. But that hole is always there. But as you get more and more accustomed to where the opening is, you could almost close your eyes and navigate the edges of this hole. You could go left some days, go right others, your toes maybe even right at the edge, and know you're not going to fall into it. You're not going to be overcome with the emotions that you might have right now. Well-meaning people will tell you things, don't worry, you'll get over it, and time heals all wounds. We've all been told these things our whole life, that's what getting past something like this is about, but it's not. And it's a lie. You cannot get over a loss. You don't get over it. You don't heal from it. That hole, that loss, that feeling of sadness may be with you forever, but it becomes a part of you. You learn how to deal with that feeling. On a good day, that hole in front of you, if your joints aren't too sore, you might be able to just jump right across it. It's always going to be there, and you can always navigate it, but it's going to forevermore be there and become part of you. The things that you do every day now, for as long as you've known Gail, the things that you do, perhaps you hear her words in your head now, the way she said certain things, the way she greeted you, the way she told you, it's okay, I get it, I know what you want. The way people say those things, they become a part of you. And maybe unconsciously sometimes you find yourself slipping into it and saying the very same thing the same way. That's how we keep someone alive in our heart. For as long as you remember them, as long as you walk this earth and can have those thoughts, a part of Gail is always going to be with you. A part of her will always survive within you, that spark. As long as you can see her in your head, she's there. And that doesn't mean that there won't be a day that you'll say to yourself, boy, I wish Gail was here to see this. I wish I could tell her that she would have enjoyed this. I'm not going to tell you that perhaps quietly in your head or under your breath you don't say something like that. Gail, you should have been there. You should have seen this. When the applesauce went all over the floor, you'd have really enjoyed seeing the people run around trying to clean. Whatever it was, it's okay to talk to them because that's how we keep them within us. I'm here to tell you, years later, I still hear my mom's voice in my ear sometimes, especially when I'm thinking about doing something dumb. And her voice is right here saying, you might want to rethink that. And that's okay. That's part of the lessons they taught us. You don't have to be of someone's blood to have them part of you. All you need is the experience of being with them. For some folks, it's a friendship. For others, it's a marriage or a relationship. But the closest you felt and sharing lives with her, your life with her and her with you, is what is always going to keep her in your hearts for the rest of your days. And that's an important takeaway here. We're celebrating her life and the things she brought to you and the joys. And yes, we're sad for what we've lost, but that still becomes a part of us. And if you never experienced loss or sadness, how would you know what joy is? And that's how we can measure how we feel someone. You feel for someone, you can tell by how much you feel their loss, they're being gone from you now. All of that speaks to how much you cared for them while they were here. Death has taken our beloved Gail Fierman. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Gail's love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of mercy. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness now, and is now a precious remembrance. And for all those and more, we give our thanks to God. The 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. O God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days as a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace, God. You redeem the soul of your servants, and none of us who trust in you shall be desolate. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember, Gail. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember, Gail. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember, Gail. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember, Gail. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember Gail. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. One of our traditions teaches us that taking care of each other is a true charity, a kindness. And one of the most charitable acts that we can perform for anyone, for any of our family or friends or acquaintances, is to help lay them into the earth. In a moment, I'm going to have Gail's casket lowered, and then I'm going to ask that all of you who wish to take a small shovel full of earth and place it on top of the casket. Because in this way, with our own loving hands, we can participate in helping lay someone to their final resting place. It's a good deed that it carries the utmost importance because it's a good deed that can never be repaid. She cannot thank us anymore for the kindness we're about to show her. And as much as it seems sometimes cruel or heartless to bury a loved one, a friend, an acquaintance, a family member, it is the last deed we can do to help them from here on earth. So we're going to lower the casket at this time. A voice says, cry out. And I say, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all its beauty is like the flower in the field. The grass withers, a flower fades. When a wind of the Lord blows upon it, surely the people are grass. The grass withers, the flower fades. The word of our God shall endure forever. God is sure, our immovable rock. All God's work is upright. Who can say, what is it that you do? The Eternal governs what is above and what is below, overseeing both the valleys of death and the heights of life. God is sure, our immovable rock. Who can say to God, what will you do? You are righteous in your dealings in both death and life, and every soul is in your trust. Praise you, God of truth, who ordains death and summons us to life. Help us to feel your presence in this time of trouble, so that we may declare that God is upright, our rock, in whom there is no unrighteousness. God gave, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. El Mole Rachamim Shalchein Bamromim. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Gail Fierman, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bonds of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, and may she rest in peace. And let us say together, Amen.
Amen.
Before I ask you each if you wish to participate in the mitzvah, the good deed of helping place earth in the grave, I'm going to recite what is known as the mourner's Kaddish. It is one prayer that is said at Jewish funerals, and those who have heard it before have come to know that it's always been associated with a funeral, but interestingly, the prayer itself does not talk of death at all. The prayer talks about God's wisdom and God's mercy and thanking God for allowing us to be here at this time. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'Alma Divrach Yerutei V'Yamlich Malchutei V'Chayechon V'Yomechon V'Chayei D'Chol Beit Yisrael V'Galal V'Zman Kari V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavorach Le'olam Alo Me'Almaya Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yit Pa'ar V'Yit Ramam V'Yit Nasei V'Yit Hadar V'Yit Halel V'Yit Halal Shemei D'Kudesha B'Richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Da'Memram Yoma V'Yamru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yamru Amen. Osei Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'asei Shalom Aleinu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yamru Amen. And that very last sentence I just recited translates to mean, may the Father of peace send peace to everyone who mourns, no matter where they may be in the world, here or in Jerusalem, wherever they may be, and let them all find peace. And together we say Amen. I would ask family members typically to come forward first, but all of you are her family. So I'm going to consider all of you equal at this time, whoever feels up to this. Would you like me to do it for you?
Huh?
Would you like me to do it for you? I'll place earth for you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
If any of the rest of you friends would care to do so. right, friends, this will conclude the services here at the gravesite. Once all of you or any of you have taken the chance, if you wish to place some earth, you may return to your cars whenever you find you're ready. Thank you for being here to help celebrate Gail's life at this time.